Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm working with the beautiful Season of Chic suite, which is this lovely stamp set that literally does cover all the seasons. So you've kind of got flowers for spring, you've got seashells for summer for beaches, we've got some lovely oak leaves for autumn. Some lovely texture stamps, obviously, because the paper is actually called Texture Chic. Some snowflakes and some super sentiments. And then you've got some gorgeous dies that go with it as well, including this lovely mesh. There are layers to go on it. So with each of the leaves, with the flowers rather. So you've got a flower and then you've got this lovely detailed die, which adds a layer on the top there. So that's what I'm working with. The paper is gorgeous. It's 2 each of 6 designs, and it is foiled paper. So you've got lovely gold accents on there, and say sort of more neutral patterns on the back. Some lovely soft succulent and evening evergreen. On the back has sort of a textured wood. This beautiful pink, and you've got sort of, I actually paired petal pink with the one paper, which is this this one here, this one. I can't even see which pattern it is. I've obviously misplaced one of my patterns, I think. Anyway, it's this lovely pattern here. Anyway, let me go through them first. So you've got flowers, then you've got this lovely evening evergreen stuff, beautiful for winter, snowflakes, this pattern here, which is gorgeous, and then sort of mango melody on the back there. And so I've created this lovely box. So this is designed to be a gift and keepsake box. Again, if we're going to go to the trouble of making some boxes, let's make it worth keeping. So this is a thinking of you, and you can see as it pulls out, it actually pops the base up as well. So it lifts up, so anything you put in there will just be tipped forward. Lots of versions of this. It's a bit like a ring box that people have done in the past. And this little tab here is from our gorgeous new lasting label. As you can see, this beautiful shape. So you can see I've got lovely layers here. I'm using our self-adhesive sheets to add those on, so we get lots of lovely patterns. And as you can see, as you say, it pulls forward and you've got these lovely patterns, and I've just added some DSP to the inside as well, as I say, so that it makes it a real sort of keepsake box as well. So let's get started. So I thought for this I would use some different colours that I wouldn't normally use. So I've taken inspiration from the paper, and I've gone for this one, which is Petal Pink and Mango Melody. So there's my sort of, but you can see actually once you've got that layer on there, it breaks up the Mango Melody, which I find quite a harsh colour, strong colour, yeah, and it just kind of gives us a real sort of lift. So I've used 6 pieces of 6x6 DSP, so it doesn't use very much, and 6 pieces of card that are 6.5 by 6.5, and I've layered all bar one of those on there. So put that last one on, and then those are ready to go. You're going to need a sheet of A4 Mango Melody and an extra piece that's 9 by 8 centimetres. I have done the measurements in inches on this. If you're in the US, you will need your 12 by 12 cardstock, as it uses a piece that's 11.5 inches in length. So there we go. So I'll put those pieces to one side, and let's get on with our stamping. What I'm going to do is actually do our flowers. So we've got a solid sort of infill flower and an outline flower that we're going to use, and we also need to stamp our sentiment as well. So I'm using Petal Pink, and all I'm going to do is just ink this up well and stamp the outside layer, and then to do the inner one I'm just going to press it lightly on there, and because it's photopolymer I can just line that up and you'll see you still get that outline just about showing through on there. I'm also going to stamp my sentiment, thinking of you. On the bottom there as well. I've going to use some adhesive sheets, and we're going to die cut one of the flowers. So I've got a couple of pieces here. I've got some Mango Melody with some adhesive sheet on. I've got some Petal Pink with a bit of adhesive sheet on there as well. And the dies I want I want this outline die for the flower. I want the detailed die to cut my detailed layer on there. And then I want to cut two of my leaves as well in Mango Melody. So we just pop those on as well, and then we can get those die cut. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my sentiment off before I do that. So I'm going to take that to about 2 centimetres and just sort of come back to about 1.8. And then bring that down to about 5 centimetres. You can't quite see at the top there. And that will just enable me to get a little bit of a layer. So I'm just going to take a scrap of Mango Melody. And so I'm going to make it just about 2.1 by about 5.3. And just make sure that that layers up perfectly. What we don't want to do is pop that through our die cutting machine and for it to kind of get some textural smooshing going on. I haven't lined that one up as well as I might have done, but it'll these are. So here we go with our pieces. I can move my Stampin' Pierce mat out of the way now. I'm just going to add that and put that to one side with my other layers. So as you can see here, that's come through beautifully. Just going to take that out. And when you lift that off, you can see it just gives us a fabulous layer, and it's really easy to line up as well. You'll find this bit here's got quite an indentation, so I've just popped that on there, and once you've lined one bit up, the rest of it just lines up really well. So there's our flower. We've got a couple of leaves, and you might just need your die brush or your die brush attachment if you've got one for your Stampin' Pierce tool, or if you've got one of the old pokey tools, that will work just as well. So there we go. There's my leaves. So I'm just going to pop those dies to one side. Okay, so those are my pieces. So now what we want to do is get on with making our box. So as I said, you want a full sheet of cardstock. So it's 21 by 29. So I'm just going to take the edge off that. So it's 21 centimetres already. So I'm just going to trim that down to 29. So then you're going to score the long side at very simple scoring: 7, 14, 21 and 28. Then on the short, we're just going to score at 7 and 14. Okay, while we've got the scoreboard, my scoreboard out, or my trimmer even, I'm going to take my second piece of Mango Melody that I now appear to have lost. Okay, so I want a piece that's 9 by 8. So take our second piece, take a piece of Mango Melody that's 9 by 8 centimetres, and on the 8 centimetre edge, so that shorter one, score at 1 centimetre, and then on the longer 9 centimetre, you're going to score at 1 centimetre on each end, like that. Okay. We'll need our trimmer again in a minute because we're going to do some diagonal scoring. That is probably easier to do when we come on to the trimmer. So fold and burnish your score lines. We're making a box, so reinforcing those score lines will just help our box come together much neater. So I'm just going to, and as I'm doing that, what I'm doing is making sure those are lining up nice and square. So even if I was a bit out on my scoring, I can correct it at this stage. And again, just come up. So, and then this final one, like so. I'm going to reinforce the score lines on our extra insert as well. And then what we're now going to do some trimming. I'm just going to sort of show you what you're going to end up with. So what you're actually going to do is do some trimming and cut these away. So the end with the short score line, which is this one here, is where you're going to do the trimming. So just to sort of show you, we're going to come down here and here and trim that away. I'm going to cut down these lines and down these as well, and then we're going to score diagonally over these far ones, trimming away the very end piece. So that's hopefully just makes it, just sort of illustrates what we're going to do, make it easier for you to follow along. So the first thing I like to do is trim away these top ones. And then we're going to, I'm just going to come and cut straight down here and the other one. And again we're going to cut down on each side. Same on the other side. So you're cutting each of these straight ones all the way to that first score line. So there we go, short bits. So we're only cutting away these two bits at the moment, and all the others are flaps. Now we're going to score diagonally across here, and this is why I've done my cut up my flaps first, because it just makes it easier. So just pop the top here, fold that in with that corner there and score, and do the same on the other side. Again, just from that outer edge, one in and score. Okay. Then while we've got that in place, if you tuck those in and at about 1 centimetre-ish you can then just trim that away. Again, tucking the flaps in at around about 1 centimetre-ish. Just cut that away. So now you've got our piece. We've got our diagonal score lines here. So we're going to fold those in and again burnish. Now it does help if you take a little bit off the edges of those. So all I'm going to do is just take like a couple of millimetres off. And what that will do is just help that sit more easily. And you'll see I'm just coming down and then just kind of cutting away at the last minute. Okay. Now if we take our little panel and you want to cut diagonally across there. So all will be real. So this is our front diagonal. This is going to create our box bit, and this is going to fit in here, and we're going to fold that out. So you're going to glue this to the sides like so, and this back is going to go on the flap here. So this flap here, just to make it neat on the inside, and then these two diagonals are just going to cover up that join. So all we need to do is just cut that back flap off at an angle, because you don't want that interfering with our mechanism, and then we can get on and glue those. Now what I would recommend is you use either a wet glue or a very strong glue on this. So I'm going to use some Tombow, so I'm just going to come in. I've got mine just in a fine tip here. And then obviously that bottom bit is going to glue there as well. So this is the sort of trickiest bit that we've got. So I'm coming in and lining that up on the back there. You can see that that's nice and neat in there. Just give it a second. Obviously you'll have a little bit more time than I will. And these are going to come up on each side like so, nice and square. So you use that score line to align that well. And if you fold those back, you can just make sure that that's not going to foul on it at all. You just leave that to dry for a second. And just explain, so our box then is going to come up like this. So you'll have just these flaps which are going to tuck in on the side there. What we're actually going to do is sandwich them on the outside of the box, and that's the when this goes in, it's got nothing to catch on that back edge. So you can see that. So we'll have the side, the flap, then the outer piece. So again, we're just going to trim while that's drying into an angle those two little pieces as well. Now obviously at this stage you could start adding your panels on if you wanted to. As it's going on flat, I'm not going to worry too much about it, simply because I forgot. So there we go. Right, so once this is starting to dry, you then want to come in with, again, with some strong adhesive. So I'm going to use my Seal Plus here. I'm just going to come in along that edge of that triangle and then fold that in and give it a good burnish with your bone folder. Do the same on the opposite side, so you should be able to see this a little easier. Come in as close as you can to the edge. If you go over the edge very slightly, if you've got any showing, just tuck it in, and again just fold that in and burnish well. And then that very front, which I forgot to trim, that just neatens our edge slightly. So again, we can just fold that in and give it a burnish. So these are then going to have 2 panels added to them to create our inner decoration. So again, these are at this point, they're just they're flat surfaces, so you don't need to worry about them having a strong glue. I mean, obviously you can use that if you want to, but you can just as easily come in with some ordinary seal, like so. So just pop that on the back there, and that just covers up in there. And that will cover up on the back there as well. So that's going to come up and down, and our label actually is going to go on the outside edge. So I'm going to punch that out of some Mango Melody, simply because, oh no, I have got some of the Petal Pink, there we go. And so what I've done there is I'm just punching that. Oh look, it's even a piece I put a label on as well. And what I did was I scored that by just lining up that little sort of dimple, and then I just moved it along and cut. You don't have to worry about it being straight or not, because it's going to be hidden by the front piece. So just fold that and again reinforce, and you're going to add that to the back centre of one of these one of these layers. But what you want to do is make sure it's folded over neatly, so you want almost the front. So just, you can measure if you like, but what I'm doing is folding that and holding, then adding my adhesive. In fact, I probably should have used some Seal Plus on that. What I am going to do is then use my Seal Plus to attach that to the front, because what you don't want is for your tab to come off the front of your box as you pull it down. So just add that in there, like so. So as I said, now what we want to do is add some Seal Plus. Oh no, yeah, Seal Plus to these 2 tabs. So those are going to fold up and fold over the outside piece of that flap. And then now we're ready to decorate the top of our box. So we want our lovely leaves. And a stamped panel would be useful. There we go. There we go. So, because these leaves have got the adhesive on them, I'm just going to pop those, if you get any pieces stuck in. So I'm going to go with my larger leaf first. Usually as you peel the backing, you'll see it'll take those little pieces out. My second leaf. I'm going to add a dimensional onto the back here. And I'm just going to curve that slightly. Then add a couple more dimensionals just onto the back of our panel. it. I'm just going to allow just a little bit of that. Give it a good squeeze. And there we have our pair of flip out, almost like a dispenser type box with our beautiful Texture Chic suite. So thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon, and I'd love it if you chose me as your demonstrator when you make a purchase. When you get to the checkout, just select a demonstrator, find a demonstrator, look for Heidi Smith, and add me, and I would be really grateful for that. And then I can send you my thank you card and gift in the post. Thanks for watching. Bye now.